IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, as we go into our lovely guests, a great talent. Finally, weeks have passed with no talent, but we have one. I just have to quickly rant a little bit about the fact that we in Mumbai are in a lockdown. Maharashtra for that matter. They're calling it what they want, 3/4 lockdown, 4/5 lockdown, other lockdown, 50% lockdown, but it's a lockdown. But there is some goodness in this. There's some good positive hope. And that is for all men. Remember, that means no shaving and no deodorant. You just stuck at home. Who are you going to impress? No point. Your mother will always love you and your wife doesn't care. So it's all good for us men. Nothing to worry about. I'm so happy that I don't have to touch any of these parts ever again. My fat cheeks take hours to... when you're fat, it's a problem shaving because you always have patches that are protected by the skin and they remain unshaved and they pointed out to you in the studio later. So I'm telling you honestly, this is a great moment. Look at all the positive from a positive perspective and it's not such a bad thing. This 3/4 lockdown, which is not a lockdown.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And now let us introduce our lovely guests, Shilpa Rao. Silvery and Rishi will play corresponding music because let me tell you, above everything else, these elite westernized Indian men who I work with are most impressed about the Grammy nomination. She's Grammy nominated. Shilpa, they told us 30 times she's Grammy nominated. So it's like that chop is unbelievable. And there's so many other things that you've done, so many award-winning songs, so many awards, classically trained. I mean, you've crossed the India-Pakistan divide and there's so many blockbuster hits and all they come up with is Grammy nominated. It's amazing. I love that. It's the leftover of the Raj. We need that influence, otherwise it's pointless. Shilpa, welcome to the show. I talk a lot, as I tell all my guests. So please, at any point you walk out, just get up and leave.
No, but I really love your Cyrus. I do. Forever.
Okay.
I do.
All right. Don't give me so much love. I'm scared. Really? Is that love?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's basically a third world filmmaker. Trying to look through the lens. Can I start with the background? You've got this lovely piano. It just classes up everything. No? If somebody has a piano in the house, you suddenly sound like a really sophisticated, classy person. I mean, for a non-piano person to see, it's almost like intimidating. Wo kya hai? Piano.
Yeah. So my brother is the pianist, and like I told you before, he's the better musician in the house, and so he started to learn piano when he was 5. And when we first got it, like this is a grand, but we used to have a upright. And my dad's friend took. This is a grand, but
the big opening grand one, the big one.
Yeah, the top and everything. So, but the first one which we got, that was an upright. And my dad's friends used to come home and ask us, "This iska plug point kidhar hai?" Or iska sound box speaker aaspaas hai. Like you could have bought a house with it instead of this, and you could have bought. I find a lot of
Indian men who aren't musically trained like your family is would probably use that to put the drinks on. They'll be like, this is a perfect height. Wherever there's been a piano, I've noticed that men find that height perfect for keeping their drinks while drinking on. And they just lean on it like it's just a perfect piece of furniture for that.
Yeah, Indian films have actually made that, like this guy sitting and playing and then this woman standing there with a drink and, it's a very...
Unbelievable.
Suddenly you feel more classy. You hold the glass like that and all of that.
Yeah, I know. But okay, I won't waste time with the piano. I know there's so much to talk about.
No.
Listen, Shilpa, I've got more than 40 points. Now, each point is interesting on its own.
Okay.
But hamare paas sirf, I think 40 odd minutes hai. And out of that only, we've got to do question answers, get you to sing for half an hour for free. And then, market it on our own podcast sites and make money without sharing it with you. We've got plans. This is a very vicious circle. But we'll start at the beginning. Before we come to Grammy nominated, Silvery will join us halfway and he'll tell you how much it means to him. Not that it's a small thing. It's a huge thing, by the way. I mean, you're the one nominated. You hail from a family of musicians and embarked on a musical journey through Bollywood. The funny thing is that generally Indian classical trained, I don't know if this is the right thing to ask also because it's a complex issue as me.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're Indian classical music trained, or even Western classical for the matter, you thumb your nose at Bollywood a little bit. I would think, you're trained in a certain way where you look at culture from a slightly, higher level, and you don't think perhaps that pop culture is okay comparatively because from childhood you've been trained in Indian classical music, which is for a discerning ear, sophisticated ear, etc., etc.
Right. So obviously, my father was very strict when we were growing up, and I was learning Hindustani classical music. Anurag, my brother, was learning Western classical music. So
wow.
we had like Amir Khan Saab and Bach and Beethoven happening in the same house.
I'll just explain. Bach is Johann Sebastian Bach, Silvery. He's Punjabi. He's not a dog making sounds because now he's already wondering ki kahan hai Purania, and he's looking in the background. All right. So the confluence was happening of West and East.
Bach is the father of the piano, actually, the harpsichord. Yeah, he made it. So we grew up with that, and my father was very strict. We weren't allowed to listen to any other form of music because.
What are you saying? Really?
Yeah, he was like, you're learning this. You need to be focusing on this because if you listen to something else, it just all of that. So, but
it sounds like Beethoven's dad. Beethoven's dad was very strict, apparently. Huh?
Yeah, even Mozart's dad.
No, Mozart's dad was very cool. We are a Mozart family, so all the Mozart stories I know.
Huh. Okay. So then my father was that way. And obviously, when you start listening to other forms of music in school, because I wasn't in a convent school and we used to have a lot of choir practices and I was doing harmony. So it was sort of a departure from the training at home.
You were cheating on the family tradition behind their back.
I was cheating.
In the halls of education.
I was having the cake and eating it as well. So I was doing that. But it was really fun to listen to different forms of music, which I still do. I have a very open mind with the music.
But that's amazing, no? When you come from a very strong background where you're trained to where music is a real art form, which you have to learn. You don't just turn up with talent or without. And then you go to school and you have it's more like a fun bit of music. There's no pressure, there's no intellectualizing and all that. And that you were able to enjoy that without looking down on it.
No, in fact, I think the biggest love for me in my life is actually listening to good music more than singing it. So I think if you leave me, I would sit for hours listening to music, trying to listen to new music. If I find something, I will look for it, and I enjoy doing that. And even when my friends gather, we have a session of playing one song, so everyone gets one chance to play one song. Like you get to.
It's called Antakshari, Shilpa.
No, you play the song. I mean on the Bluetooth speaker, you play the song of your liking and something that you discovered. Yeah, and I still love to find new music, watch concerts. I love.
So Shilpa Rao herself doesn't have a perfect favorite genre.
No.
It's not like Hindustani classical is there and then everything else. You can switch from one to the other like this.
Yes, my phone is a mixed bag. The music on my phone.
What about your brother? Does he also have the same thing, or is he a little?
He's also the same way because we're quite similar in terms of. We chat about a certain concept of music and why someone did this and how this art form came into being. So we like to discuss.
Also, you obviously got growing up the school and college peers influence. You can't escape that.
Yes.
And you don't want to look like a.
Of course not. In fact, school and college, everyone must go not for the education, but to build relationships, to be able to have friends, to be able to have a human interaction with the people, to be able to. I think that's the best part about going to school and college.
I think you're so right. That's why canteen is more important than class. I've been screaming about this since the first time I got on the blacklist in St. Xavier College many years ago. Shilpa, I'm going to ask you a stupid question. I had a colleague called Anurag Rao in MTV for 15 years. Good drinking buddy of mine. He played bass guitar in a band, so he's quite musically gifted. All these Brahmins from the south, some of the other managed to play 10 instruments. But he can't be your brother, right?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Because he didn't play piano as far as I can remember. I just want to clarify this because he also has 2 molestation charges on Jet Airways, which is now no longer there. So I think the legal cases have also disappeared. I was part of that, as in I was trying to pull him off. But it's another story, not for this podcast. Okay, so I find this very fascinating about you already, that you train, not just the fact that you train Hindustan classical, but the background in the family is very sophisticated music learning. And I can totally relate to your father saying, why? Don't corrupt the ear almost, in a fact. It's almost like maybe that's the thinking. And the fact that then you were able to not have a complex or reverse complex when it comes to all this different musical genre, which is really where you made your name slowly, So let's now go back to more than 20 songs under your belt as a seasoned artist, all the different Hindi songs. How did it start? So how do you go from traditional Hindustani classical, where perhaps you'll be doing those concerts, to suddenly going towards the Bollywood side? How did that happen?
So, frankly speaking, many people ask me, still people who want to sing for films, that what's the learning to this? How do you sing for a film? How do you become a Bollywood singer? I said, I don't know.
Father ka influence normally. But go on.
No, I absolutely have no idea. Basically, all the things that I have learned, I always say that I am a product of all the things that I have learned, all the music that I have learned, all the music I have heard actually. And then when the song is presented to me, I just express it in the way I would. So that's all I've done, and thankfully all the musicians that I've worked with have let me be myself. And they've not tried to change my voice.
When they ask you to do a Bollywood songs, they don't ask you ki Lata Didi ki jaise or Asha Didi ki jaise. They don't try to tell you to sing like an old icon from the past.
Well, my mom was actually someone who introduced me to Begum Akhtar ji when I was growing up, and she had a bloody fantastic voice, a voice of her own.
You wanted to use worse language, but you stopped yourself. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean,
worse language in a praising way. Yeah.
She was like a boss lady, and my mother was a huge fan of hers, and I started hearing her, and so that sort of opened a window towards a lot of female artists of that era, not just Indian, even abroad. If you're talking about Ella Fitzgerald or Edith Piaf or
Edith Piaf, you're my generation.
I love her.
Begum Akhtar is also quite old actually. Huh?
Yes, she is. And I would listen to Farida Khanum ji, I would listen to Iqbal Banu ji, and all of these women had such amazing individual voices, and I said, yeah, I should have
I think all that you mentioned, they're also very powerful singers.
Yes.
Almost each one that you mentioned. As in, they
overtake
the
room. They're not just musicians. They had an ideology of their own. They had a belief system. They stood forward for change. For change. Like, for example, Iqbal Banu was told not to wear a sari in the Ziaul Haq emergency days, and she sat Hum Dekhenge in a sari. And yeah.
After being told not to?
Yes.
So you're a bit of a rebel, Shilpa? Is that what you're hinting at?
No, I would stand for things that I believe. It's not about being a rebel. It's about being, you know what, the right word is love. If you believe in love, if you feel that love is the only one way that people can be together and there could be any semblance of peace amongst each other, please stand for it.
I think I know what you're saying. I don't know. I think I know. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me. But I think what you're saying is also that the belief of being a true artist, the belief of who they are and what they are is also in confluence with the art. So what they stand for and the singing.
That should be. Otherwise, it becomes entertainment. There's a difference between art and entertainment. So.
Yeah, you're fair enough. But I'm not saying maybe that's the way it should be. But there are plenty who don't do that. Plenty of those whose hands get twisted and whatever, and do whatever they have to survive. But that's good to know. So Shilpa, I will be with you at the next farmers agitation or whichever crusade you take up. Not farmers agitation. Government doesn't like that. Be careful. No, but you're not telling us that one thing. So how did this segue happen? See, we know that you're classically trained and we know that you yourself are flexible, but you come from a background which is perhaps not. So how did you get into Bollywood, which it's almost like marrying outside the community in the 70s and 80s where nobody will accept all that kind of thing. So how did that first step happen? Now, obviously, it's all okay.
Well, so used to have this cassette player and CD player at home, and that used to sometimes on a Sunday, how are these CDs increasing? I'm like, no, Dad, it's the same. So you used to get these like pocket money and you used to go and buy a CD of Sting or Sade or Eagles or Led Zepp, because my brother
God,
was...
what a wide variety, from Begum Akhtar and Iqbal Banu to Led Zepp and Eagles, which is actually country.
Led Zepp is the shit. How can you not listen to Led Zepp? It's an institution. It's amazing.
You are perhaps the most flexible music lover I've ever met in my life. Unbelievable, really, that you're so secular in music. Yeah.
No, Led Zepp is one of my favorites. In fact, my brother was having this Linkin Park phase, and I wanted to get him out of it, so I gave him Led Zepp. So, wow, this is okay. Like, yeah, I think
you took him out of Linkin Park by converting him to Led Zepp. Wow.
Yes, I did that because I couldn't take that music, so I gave him Led Zepp. Come on, you have to hear these people. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very. Like in school, we used to have these, times where we could exchange music. So, someone's getting a cassette and this, that. So, what's up, chalta tha, apart from comics and whatever. But then, yeah, that was a great time to actually sit down and have a listening session and have thoughts about it. And then you found out about Hotel California and what it actually means and then what it stands for. And
isn't it about drugs?
Yeah, so... You can get out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Oh, God, my producer Silvery is jumping for some reason. It's a topic very close to his heart. See, I don't know why, but when he comes on, we'll find out. Huh.
So, all of that. And through college, St. Xavier's is a place where you can just be yourself and do what you want, and then nobody will bother you. So, yeah, that was great. Again.
Yes, Xavier's, at least in my time, many years before you, had this, we had people with guitars hanging around in the canteen, in that the forest area. It was, I think every generation had a few guys like that you'd find a singing session going on in the late afternoons, definitely with the hostel lights in the evening. Mostly Led Zepp and that kind of thing would be unearthed. The Grateful Dead, I remember, was a big thing in my time. Jerry Garcia, I don't know if you've into that, but that was a big thing in Xavier's. So, but we're still not getting to the point where you made the cross to Bollywood. I don't want to dwell too much on Bollywood because everybody knows that about you and they can Google you. But I just want to know how the cross happened from your background.
So Bollywood, of course, when you're learning how to sing and to be a recording artist, two different things. So I moved to Bombay, and so I didn't know many people here. So I'd gone to studios to find work, and they said, why don't you start with jingles? Because at that point, there were no reality shows at that point. There were jingles. And I said, yeah, because at that point, I wanted to record. I wanted to learn the art. So I said, yeah, whatever it is. Even if it's one line, I'll go and do this. And yeah, it used to be one line only because there were jingles. So, it just helped me.
You progressed from jingles, and then somebody heard you, and then you got your first Bollywood song.
Yeah, I still do jingles sometimes.
Money is good, time is less, air-conditioned comfort.
No, they're big songs now. I'm getting full songs there, like proper 2-page songs. Yes.
Which jingle is that long?
Tanishq.
Really? I got to go and hear this.
Yeah.
Tanishq, the jewelry you're talking about.
Dhruv Ganekar had done this thing, and we just recorded something in December, and so yeah, it was nice to learn from all these jingle makers, even Rajat Dholakia and Dhruv, Ashu Dhruv, and all these people. They actually taught me how to stand in front of a mic and sing, and how to emote, and how to express, and how to harmonize.
I think you're giving them too much credit. You're a trained vocalist.
No. I have to say that because singing just like this and on stage and singing in the studio are very, very different art forms. So that really helped me to sing a Bollywood song because you hear a song and you sing it, you emulate it. But when you have nothing, there's no reference. It's just a brand new, fresh song nobody's ever sung. To be able to make it your own is a very difficult thing. So that's what jingles taught me, to find your uniqueness and how to own the song. So bit by bit, from one word to one line to one para to one whole song.
Were you ever nervous when you were?
I still am nervous. If I get a call for a song, I'm like, okay, what is it and how I'm going to do it? I like it. It's a good place to be. Yeah.
No, but
Otherwise, it's just monotonous.
now that you're such a big name, I think they'll be scared to tell you anything. They'll be like, Shilpa ji, thoda sa ye kam, wo zyada, something like that. It'll be tough.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. In fact, I live with 3 critics in my house: my dad, my mom, and my brother. It's bad enough. I'm great with criticism.
Really?
I don't know what to do with compliments. When someone compliments me, I don't know what to do with it. So yeah.
You should come and live in my house. We only insult each other all the time. It's just like an insult. Yeah.
Please send me your address. I'll come for some.
And you don't have to wear a mask.
Parsi food?
Parsi food, all kinds of food, whatever you want, we'll order. You don't have to make people cook in the house. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Listen, we'll run out of time, so let's get to 2-3 things we need to talk about. One is the Glastonbury Festival in 2015. So how did... Yeah, that's correct. So how did that happen and what is that all about? Once you can see, we know you as this Bollywood singer, for those who don't know. And so we expect one thing. And then now that I've spoken to you for like 20 minutes, I figure that, you can actually do any genre and probably would enjoy almost all genres. So what is Glastonbury? What kind of music, by the way?
So Glastonbury happened because apart from doing
it's a glass with an L. I'm so sorry.
Glastonbury.
So can you do a Scottish accent? Where is it?
This is around about 3 hours away from London.
But towards Scotland?
You need to take a train first.
Okay.
I don't know. We passed Reading and all of that. And then
Reading is where Ricky Gervais comes from, the comedian.
I love him.
I also love him.
I love that
doesn't
guy.
help us.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's very naughty. Yeah.
So we got there and so I mean, of course, apart from film music, I love to collaborate with other artists, indie artists and everything. So there were these bunch of artists and they said, yeah, we're doing this thing at Glastonbury. I said, dude, I want to collaborate. I said, yeah, chalo, why not? We sat down, we jammed on the material and we all got our backpacks and landed up at Glastonbury and performed. It was tough to pitch your own tent and it was raining and you have your
so no 5 chamchas handing you chai, coffee.
No, it was just us. It was just 5 of us, and
And what did you perform? What kind of music? Was it more like rock?
No, it was indie music because I did sing in Hindi and Punjabi. I did not let go of that, which was actually amazing because I was standing there singing and a lot of these different nationality people from different countries, they were there, they were listening to music, and we sat after the performance at a bonfire and we were just talking and they ask you, I get the sentiment, but what did you actually sing? Can you please explain to me? So it was a nice conversation through the night, and after the sunrise we had to leave. So yeah. But it was a great experience. I think everyone must attend this festival once in their lives.
It's like a lottery. You have no idea what to expect. You go there and all kinds of music will be played and all kinds of people will turn up.
Yeah, you have Gaslamp Killer, you have Adele, you have Coldplay, you have pretty much everyone there. Yeah.
Shilpa Rao.
And there was Chemical Brothers also. The year we performed there. Yeah.
So, and they don't get paid. Everybody's coming gratis through this.
No. They are paid for never, but you can't put your foot down.
Okay.
It's an honor to be there. It's amongst fellow musicians, and again, it stands for the organic way of living. You kind of, there are no sponsors there.
Shilpa, you made me feel like a midget today. I'm not very tall anyway, and I apologize. Because
let's attend the Glastonbury Festival together.
But no, it's not that. It's your philosophy, which is so. It's almost like you've evolved to another level. And I come from a background where you like your art and hate the others. So it's very like I had to drink so much to get through bars in the 90s. You have no idea. I can't bear electronica. I can't bear techno. I can't bear rap. And Hindi music started becoming like that also. I mean, I love Kishore Kumar in the 70s.
You must listen to Kendrick Lamar. You must listen to Drake. It's beautiful. It's poetry.
But they talk without the little extra, the rhythm and poetry bit. The rhythm part irritates me. I don't mind the poetry so much because all that bad language, it always helps you when you're in Gurgaon fighting with a cabbie.
I'll send you some nice music and you will love it.
I don't know. I really struggled. People ask me why I drink so much, and now I realize I drank because I couldn't bear those bars. Nikhil Chinnappa used to scare me. He used to send me messages saying, I'm playing, please come. And it was like trance music or whatever the hell it was. And it was, and he would be in the first row right there, and you have to go, I mean, nobody claps. They're all dancing, but
Yeah.
Oh, it was damn
It's so
scary.
much
And then
fun.
here no, but look at you. You're amazing. You're so well trained, but you still don't look down or hate anybody. Maybe the government of India should use you as a spokesperson for everything. Because where I come from, it's so tough to like so many different forms. And anyway, it's not about me, it's about you. Quickly, and the Pakistan thing. So how did you get into Coke Studio? And this is at a time when India-Pakistan relations aren't that great.
So I am a Coke Studio fan, like so many of us. And Noori was performing in Delhi for a gig. And again, I love their music too. And actually, I'd gone as a messenger from my mom because my mom is a bigger fan of theirs. So she said, you're going to go up to them and tell them that, like, my mother really loves you. So please give my love to them. So I said, fine, okay, I did that. And they had no idea who I am and what I do. They just thought I'm just a musician. Then we sat after the gig, we're drinking, we're singing, blah, blah. And said, you have to come and sing at Coke Studio. I said, yeah, many people have
Shilpa, you're drinking?
Yes.
Stop!
Okay.
My conservative audience is having heart attacks. What were you drinking?
Beer.
In Pakistan? Good to know.
No, this is in Delhi. This is in Delhi. When they had come to meet us. So all that happened, and I said, you're coming to Coke Studio and singing. I said, yeah, many people promise many things, nothing not going to happen, blah, blah. And in a month's time, they sent me the song and said, you have to come. I said, okay, fine. So I'm making my visa and going there. And I was there for a week, Lahore and Karachi.
How was the reception in both cities?
I will say this, that their hospitality, their love for people is tremendous.
Second to none.
It comes from that whole Punjabi culture because again, in that belt, you're not from India or Pakistan, you're just Punjabis. Because that
and I guess means 2 kilos more, right?
I actually put on weight. I actually put on some 8 kilos when I came back. I ate so much in those 7 days. I like stuffed my face. But I came back with a lot of warmth for them. I came back with a lot of love that, there are good people and there are bad people. There are no good countries and bad
Why should you talk about the bad people when if you experience only good vibes?
No. The only thing that we must understand, there are good people and there are bad people. That's it. And they can come from anywhere. If you got that down right, I think you're fine.
So then there should be good music and bad music then, right? I mean, just by taking that little further.
No, it's not that I can listen to anything. I did say that Linkin Park is not
Can you please say techno should be stopped? Please, this is going to be my reverse NGO when I make enough money. How to stop techno across the world. God, I hate that music. Sometimes it didn't make any sense, Shilpa. There was no lyrics, nothing. It was just like
don't listen to it.
Like, it would go on like that for half an hour. I'd be like, bartender, 5 de do mujhe, 5 de do. So that it makes some sense to me. It's horrible. Nikhil, you made me suffer. And he became this, this great, and everybody loved him for it. And I was so old, I think. I just didn't understand. It's horrible.
No, you're not old, but techno is fun, yeah.
Yes, I'm old. I'm so old I can hardly see you. You're there? Right. Okay, listen. The big one, because we'll run out of time. We have to bring Silvery in for AMAs.
Okay, the big one.
Okay. Hindi movies, anyone can check. I mean, and you had hits in 19, 20, 21 in spite of all this. What happens to the Grammy? Tell us the Grammy story, the Grammy nomination.
The Grammy nomination, again, it was, I think, NH7, we were in Delhi and Karsh, Kale, Raghu Dixit, all of us, like we had taken over the top floor of the Marriott there, or something like that. It's one of the hotels. It was a whole floor of musicians. And Anushka was also there, Anushka Shankar. And post the gig, and it became like a whole party zone. Everyone's everywhere. Someone's playing music, someone's jamming, someone's writing a new song or something. That happens, and many collaborations are happening everywhere. So that's when I first met Anushka, and obviously, before you meet a musician, you tend to know them because of their music. So it's not that Anushka was an entirely new human being for me. She was. I knew her because of her music before I met her. same for her. So, we chatted, blah, blah, blah. And said, if you come to London, definitely we should jam, all that. So I was in London about 3-4 years back, and then we got off for lunch because, musicians eat all the time and we talk about food all the time, more than music probably. So she said, yeah, why don't we do a song? So yeah, why not? She sent me one song, and it was just her sitar and a cello. That's it. And it was very moving. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. And we recorded it the next year. I was in London for something. And we released it during the lockdown. And it somehow made it to the Grammys, and they loved it. So yeah, we got a nomination.
Would that make you feel happy growing up? I'm thinking of the way we grew up, looking at Grammys and all that, like something so far away before A.R. Rahman at the big time, at the Oscars, etc. It just seemed away from our world and all that. So did you suddenly say, look, I'm just this little girl from, wherever in India, and then suddenly, Grammys. You're like, it can't get bigger than that.
Well, I know this for sure that there's not one thing that will change your life. There is every single day and everything that you do, every person you meet, every conversation that you have with people that can change you, and it's a series of changes that happen, that you evolve. So this was a great moment for all of us. It didn't start out as an all woman album, but it somehow happened that every person, every technician, every musician, engineer on the album is a female. But that's just a coincidence. But
how can there be a coincidence?
It was because Anushka, Ayana, they both wrote the song. I sang. My friend Shireen, she wrote it. The engineer at that point was a female. The mix engineer was a female. The woman who did the artwork was a woman. So yeah, all of us. It's just a coincidence, a massive coincidence. But it was an effort of love, and we put out that message, especially when the lockdown happened all over the world, and we just put it out as a message of love from different parts of the world. We released it, and just to put out a message that we're in it together. You're not alone anywhere. Yeah.
Anyway, I think it makes all my people here on the thing very proud.
Cyrus, your video is stuck. I can't.
Are you serious?
I can't see you. Your video is stuck.
Now?
No, it's stuck.
Has it come back?
No.
Oh, okay. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick break while I unstick it. So stay where you are. Shilpa is still with us.
Sure.
While we figure out the technology, I will just call my contact, the Home Minister of Maharashtra. Oops, perhaps not. He's under the cloud at the moment. Wait 1 second. We'll be back in a second.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Sierra Tires and thewholetruthfoods.com. Thank you for your support. We did a bunch of cock and bulls this week. We had guests like Ayushi Amin and Puneet Mania for that. Besides that, Vasanti Hariprakash was on, as well as Jay Alani, a paranormal investigator. Really, really great week on Cyrus Says. Do check it out. Tune into This Round Is On Me for an episode recorded from Gulmarg featuring one of India's professional alpine skiers, Arif Khan, who's looking forward to representing India at the Beijing Olympics. On The Habit Coach, Ashton has a chat with Kunal Rajput, a popular fitness trainer who recently completed 7 rounds of his Unlock workout series. The reunified, simplified gang of Tony, Naren, Chuck, and Shrikant discussed NFTs on the latest episode. On The Millennial Athlete, Tanvi and Shlok looked back at all the England championships of the year so far and discussed the interesting highlights of the same. Also on Thale Harate, our Kannada podcast, Ganesh spoke to Archana Shyam of Antharanga Theatre in the latest episode. And on Kadai podcast, our Tamil show, Kavita Jiva shed light in another story about the bravery and excellence in the governance of the Pallava dynasty. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
Sorry, Shilpa, the cheap Wi-Fi that we've tried to undercut everybody. So if I had just paid the full rate, this wouldn't have happened. I apologize. But remember, techno destroyed my mind in the 90s, and I haven't recovered from that. And no matter what. Okay. By the way, do you like techno?
Yeah, a lot of my friends do play it, and I do attend their
concerts. Are you okay with techno?
Yes, I am.
But that doesn't mean you like it. You're just being diplomatic. See?
No. I actually,
Yeah. I can understand rap.
Rap is beautiful. Yeah, come on.
Do you like techno, Silvery?
Yeah, I like techno. I like techno. I like a lot of electro jazz. I recently gotten into a lot
It's
of
not your
electro
podcast.
jazz.
You don't know everything that you like. This is Shilpa's podcast. What the hell is going on?
What I just said two
You
things.
say
I'm like,
You should listen to this band called 007. You love it.
okay, done. I'm on it.
It's a trip hop band.
0%.
07.
0.7. But he has to listen to bands while imbibing.
Zero numerical 7. Yeah.
Oh, like Bond.
ZERO space numerical 7.
All right, got it.
Oh,
07.
wow. How hard is that for my age group? That's like
Guys,
impossible.
you should listen
I
to
just
it.
couldn't-
Trust me, you will love it because it's like a nice blend of so many things in one, and you love it.
Now, Shilpa, I listen to the sound of my wife snoring as we approach our 49th year. And let me tell you, that's music enough for me because I have some peace while that happens, in a sense. As it sounds like a paradox, but it's true. You don't know anything about marriage, Silvery, so don't advise anyone, please.
Okay.
You're looking so happy, I can tell.
Yeah, it's because I'm
He's
not
just
married.
out of a relationship. Shilpa, we shouldn't share this with you because you're a stranger in a way. But then we know you because you're a well-known name. He's just out of a relationship which ended in lockdown, which is quite sad because generally people have clung to each other during lockdown.
No, but it
So-
started in the lockdown also. So it's only fair that it ends in the lockdown, right? It's only fair. And how can it not?
If you had ordered it on Amazon, what you're saying is that you could return it also because it happened in the same
exactly.
time period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
within warranty period.
Shilpa, any words of sensitive words that maybe you would like to say to the young man?
This shall to pass.
Oh, isn't that a George
Okay,
Harrison album? I think that's a
Was
George
it?
Harrison album. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
This
Yeah.
shall to pass.
Oh.
yeah.
Or
Okay.
just
It's-
like
He's over it now. He's okay. He cried the first 2 months because we kept mentioning it and all that. But now it's like therapy. He can discuss it openly. I told him keep it
Yeah,
open,
yeah.
and then
It's all good.
otherwise it becomes very sensitive if you hide it. Sometimes open it. That's what therapy is about. You speak about it and it gets out. So what you think is a very dangerous, dark secret or whatever suddenly becomes nothing because you've just let it out there. And we've done that. That's my gift to you, beta. No trans. No trans.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for revealing to the world how single I am, Cyrus.
It's not a
Bring
bad thing.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
just
a,
joking.
yeah,
It's all
really.
good.
At
Oh,
your
that
age,
thing
you
is
I'm
should-
in a good place. I'm in a pretty good place. Yeah, don't worry about it.
okay.
It's not a bad
All right.
thing at all.
AMAs. Let's
Yeah.
get Shilpa back in now.
All right, sure. AMAs, the first one comes from Geetu Haranya. Okay, cool name. Geetu Haranya asks, "Hi, Cyrus and guest. A big fan of the podcast. Here's my question. I think by this point, most people know that your college degree doesn't really matter. After studying engineering, I did the age-old thing of doing an MTech, and now I'm an artist and painter who has never been happier in her life.
Yeah.
How can
This
we
is it.
save the next generation from mindlessly getting into the same engineering and medicine courses just because of some familial pressure? How can we change the thinking around this?"
But I don't think Shilpa has been in the same boat because she comes from a hardcore music family. So you were not given, were you forced to get degrees and all that?
I did study. I did my master's in stats.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Shilpa, how dare you? Masters in stats? You mamuli baat nahi hai. You don't just throw it. I'm a BA arts. That's what you throw. Silvery, what are you?
I'm a bachelor in architecture.
Master in stats. I did a side degree, while doing 42 concerts a month. I did a side degree called Masters in Stats. What a waste, yeah. In a
Sorry,
sense,
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
you took a seat away from someone who
No,
needed
but I
that
was
job.
good. I was good at. There were hardly 7 people in my class. Nobody took stats.
So the stats on
Wow.
stats are very bad, is what you're saying.
Yeah, people don't study stats, which is a life, subject. It's based on life. So anyway, you don't have to change anyone's opinion or something like that. Just change
Stats,
yours
very
and do whatever you have to
Realize.
do.
Versus,
Hello?
Sorry, Cyrus, you got stuck again. Could you
Huh.
repeat that?
okay. I'm stuck again.
No,
Oh,
now you're
no.
fine.
No, now you're fine.
This is like the podcast. It's okay for a second and then it's really bad. All right. No, but I'm saying stats for me is like techno. It's just something that I just can't. I could never ever do stats. Silvery, no disrespect to Shilpa. Would you ever do stats?
I mean, I have to do stats
Going
for
back in
podcasting
life,
right now.
Do you have a
nowadays,
head for
right?
that, for figures, statistics? Very dry subject, boss.
I don't know if it's the same thing, but we often have to do figure out stats for our podcasts. Like what kind of viewership, listenership are these podcasts getting? So I'm sure
It's
at
not
least
exactly
somewhat
the
similar
same
to
thing as like cricket statistics or podcast statistics, you idiot.
that. Yeah, I'm sure.
Shilpa, what is stats? Is just a set of numbers. It's really boring, isn't it?
But actually, if you to give it to you in one line, it's actually very poetic. You kind of figure human error. That's all you do with stats. That's all it does. Which means that human beings are not the same. We're not.
Right. Silvery, can she
mechanical,
not
we're
hear
not
us?
robots.
Can I talk to you offline?
No. Cyrus, again, I think you got stuck.
You got frozen at that point again.
I'm stuck again. What's going on?
No,
Now
no.
you're
What
fine.
are the
Now
stats
you're
on me
fine.
getting stuck? It's just so amazing story. Anyway, but then again, so I guess you can answer the question. We didn't answer the question of the gentleman, which is we overtrain or overforce our middle class. India is just pushed, at least up to my generation, into engineering, stats, MBA. Everybody's got these double degrees, and then when people who have no interest in that land up doing, as this gentleman or lady said about painting, is it?
Yeah,
Went to
she's an
a
artist and
completely
painter.
different stream.
Others.
Artist and painter. So is it okay, or do you believe like most people that education is never a waste? It doesn't matter. You take a road that goes all the way around to come back to a point which has nothing to do with the beginning of that road.
Education is always good. There's nothing wrong with having knowledge and wisdom about things. But yes, like if you're living in a space where you're looking forward to a Friday and you dread a Monday, then I think you should rethink your life for sure. That's not a great way to live. Life is too short. Please pick something that makes you happy. It is don't do your life narrative the opposite way. Like I need to get that car and house, so therefore I will be doing these things.
We lost interest. We tried our best. Next one.
All right, cool. Next one comes in from Akash Jaidev. He says, so Akash Jaidev asks, hey Cyrus and guest, I'm a musician from Bangalore. It's quite sad to know that most musicians and artists won't make it. They will never get discovered and they will never earn the big bucks. It's just how it goes, sadly. This is true of actors, photographers, singers, guitarists, most professions in the performing arts. So what should one do? Should there be a certain point after which you should just self-reflect and drop the art form? Or should they just keep going even though no progress in career seems to be coming along?
Horribly accurate question, Shilpa. Can you answer it?
Well, the only question here is how much is he in love with music, and if you cannot perform, you can research, you can teach, you can make other people's.
So what you're saying is
music.
find some way to survive around the music culture.
Yeah, I
but
mean, music has like my father. He wanted to sing. He started learning music when he was 28, and he did do his Visharad in Hindustani, which is your MA in music. But he came to a point that he felt that no, I can't be a musician. I can't do this as profession. But that didn't stop him from being around music. So your love for music and your financials with music are two different things. I will say this, as much as my work I've done, probably I've not made that much money. A lot of people don't even know who I am, but that should not take away from the fact that I simply love doing music. And if you love it that much, you will find a way to be around it in some form. So have an open mind to it. Yeah, I think that's something I would say. Yeah,
that makes total sense to me, because even so I do stand up on the side, and even as a stand-up comedian, it's pretty much the same. There's no money in the first, I would say, like even 3-4 years of doing stand-up at all. You won't earn at all unless you're also producing shows or something. So yeah, just stick to it, get another job, but keep doing your passion, keep following your passion.
Yeah.
Don't give up on that.
And
if you have to get the money through other means, just go ahead.
But Silvery, you're still young, and you come from a business family.
Yeah, that's
true. As you get to 30, suddenly you have to pay bills and all that. The whole and so the thing is, a lot of people have to understand that that's the reality of life. You have to be brutally frank about that. It's the truth, because suddenly if you're paying bills and you're looking after your parents and all that, then all change completely. So what you can do at 20, like I've done my law, I'm thinking of going back and doing it now because I can't get much work. And I advise everyone to finish law before they're 50 and then probably practice it in the last 2 decades of their life when you need it the most, especially for your own personal problems, like Mr. Parekh on the 5th law. Why make this a personal podcast? It's about Shilpa. Let's talk about Shilpa. Yeah. But when people come and ask, Shilpa, when people come and ask you at airports or whatever, I'm also a singer. I'm sure you get any advice for me. What would you say to someone like that?
Say to someone like that.
Guys, are you all there?
I think just first things first, go and learn music. Yeah. I think that's something which are very there's a difference between how we keep saying, like the people who run our country are not educated for the job. In the same way, a lot of our musicians are not educated for that job. You will not learn music. You're just learning on the job. So I think please go and learn music. Trust me, once you do that, your mind just opens out to so many things that you can do with your love for music. I think love for music or love for paintings, love for architecture, beat anything, So definitely, if your love for what you want to do supersedes everything else, you will find a way to be around it for your entire life. I think, that's all I'm saying. Yeah.
But I have a friend who's passionate about sleeping. He just sleeps for hours and hours and hours. His name is Kunal.
You can make money out of that.
I don't know how to make money for him.
I'm telling you.
How?
There are hotels.
Bed checking, mattress checkers.
Exactly. You could get into that. That's amazing.
Good. I'll give him this good piece of news. Moment COVID ends, he can go from hotel to hotel checking the bed out. Yeah,
I'm quitting this job right after this. Sorry.
Can you imagine? If the money is good, I'm just thinking, really? Why do the M stats? Do I need M stats? Married today, Taj tomorrow, Trident the third day. Wow, that's great.
No, but then when you're awake, you have to sit down and fill out like a proper form.
Fluffy, soft, whatever, back was okay.
Yeah.
How much will it be, yaar? Yeah.
Let's all do that then after this podcast.
So let's tell that first person who wrote in that should be the future. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Just lie down and enjoy yourself.
Or actually, for aspiring musicians or artists who are not making enough money doing that, you can review mattresses, and when you're awake, you can follow your dream.
True. So you actually make your money when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
But there's only one other profession that does that. But there are no receipts in that. This one has proper receipts. So we'll stick with it. Sorry, brother.
Okay. All right. Sure. The last one comes from Punya Srivastav. She says, "Hey Cyrus, are you or have you ever been a midnight snacker?"
Oh God.
She says, I will often get up, be up till late and get hungry around 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning and end up making myself a nice cheese grilled sandwich or fry a few chicken nuggets. What is or was your go-to late night meal?
There are two stories here. One is, firstly, I sleep in 2-3 hour breaks. So I'm always hungry and thirsty. The problem is if you haven't planned now, all of us suffer from the fact that all that will be left in the fridge is bread, butter, or cheese. Yeah. And then you're just eating like the worst combination possible. So there's no question of getting, some leafy vegetables which have been kept away with little vignette or whatever it's called. But yeah, that's happened. It's horrible, really. What to do? I can't stop it. Where is she going?
Sorry.
Shilpa?
Yeah.
You switched.
Yeah. She had gone for the midnight meal. She was like, okay, go.
Let's ask her. Listen, but you guys are nocturnal. You guys are traditionally nocturnal with the work you do and all that. So sleeping hours must be a mess anyway some of the time.
Yes, all my life. And there are these spots when I, sleep early and, get up at 11 and then, just get back to your original self. And I'm up most of the night because it's a very quiet time. Nobody's calling you. Nobody's bothering you. You're alone. You can sit. You can listen to something.
Shilpa, also sometimes your day ends at 3 a.m. and your most relaxed time is that because you finish with whatever work there was, etc. Even Celery will have the same thing. You come in after midnight, 1, 2, 3. At that point, you're most relaxed, and that's when you want to eat because it's like, okay, now I can kick back, watch something, have a bite or whatever. So you're eating very awesome amount of food at the worst time. And then just before going to bed. So maybe we're the wrong people to advise. I don't know. I have this midnight snack problem, so I have to put my hand up.
Yeah, but it's like if you want to eat it, just eat it. Yeah, don't think too much. Just go for it.
Yeah, but you're young and you're in shape and all that. What will happen in 15, 20 years? I'm not saying anything will happen. I'm just saying, just think.
Is there a specific thing that you like to make midnight or something?
A go-to food.
A go-to food.
Do you have a midnight backup food that's left in the fridge. Matlab,
I think
anytime
any food that was made during the day and it's there in the fridge, yeah, I would go for it. I don't mind.
Okay, so you'll have roti sabzi at midnight also?
I will have roti sabzi. मुझे कोई problem नहीं.
हाँ, okay.
Roti sabzi है या कुछ curry bani hai या there's thipla, whatever. I mean, I'm fine with. I love all kinds of food. I love all kinds of music. That's all I will say.
Okay, that's very cool.
I don't know. I'm sick of home food. Am I?
Anyway, on an average, I have 2 dinners every day. I have 2 dinners every day. So yeah.
You were saying, Silvery?
No, if I'm doing a midnight snack, then it's...
At what time? One is like normal time and one is...
One is at whatever, like 9, 10, and then one is at what? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? Yeah, sure.
And what time do you sleep, young lady?
3-ish. Yeah, 2:33.
Even if you're not working, even if you're not working,
even if I'm not working, and even if I had a long day and I come back home, I need those 45 minutes of my own time before I go to sleep. Then I feel that yes, I can go to sleep. I don't know, I have that.
Wow, 45 minutes she gets. I'm told if I put the light on, I'll be shot. I just keep falling all over the bedroom and then in the bathroom. Everything has to be dark. So embarrassing, really. That's why I say for marriage, you must have separate rooms. Especially if you don't work the same time. Are you married, Shilpa?
Yes. Just recently. January.
You are married?
Yeah.
Recently married. How's that going? Can you tell me?
Oh, congrats.
It's simple. I mean, like...
Now you're congratulating her. It's already over.
I mean, but it's just so recent. It's just 2 months back.
Yeah, 2 months back.
But she's not very forthcoming about it, Silvery Ji. Everything else, yes. Huh. Okay. Just before we close the program, can you play the piano?
You want me to play the piano? I'm very not.
Can you play the piano?
I'm not that good at it, huh? What do you want to hear?
No, but I want to hear the real sound.
The real sound. Okay, cool. Okay.
Hey,
What do you want to hear?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Anything in techno?
No techno. Happy birthday to you.
To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Silvery. Oh, me. Okay.
Happy birthday to you.
And Shilpa gave me a lovely watch on my birthday, which I will treasure. Thank you very much, Shilpa.
Please send some cake.
Clap.
Please send some cake.
Yes, we got a free song from one of our leading musicians. We've got something we can keep and try and show the sponsors. Yeah. Listen, it's been great. I do apologize about the tech, not the techno. Techno also, but more the tech from my side. I will find out who's responsible. Remember, I'm very close to the Chief Minister. Not literally, but geographically. So I always feel that there's some foul play. Maybe the opposition, maybe this bunch of parties, I'm not sure. But I will find out. Shilpa, really, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Pleasure. Bye. Have a great weekend.
You too.
No, it's weekend. We are in the weekend. Week.
Oh God, you scared me.
You're Monday.
Monday.
Have a
you
great
musicians, week. I tell you. Monday is included in the weekend, Silvery. That's a life.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In, or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, host of the Empowering Series podcast on the IVM network. I happen to be a peak performance coach and leadership coach by profession, and I'm here to share with you productivity tools, life-altering techniques, and real-life hacks to help you achieve your maximum potential in everything you do, your relationships, professions, careers. So tune in every Monday to unleash your inner power. Be safe, be well, be empowered.
Namaskar, dear friends. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. Life, as you know, is a journey. And you and I, travelers, how can we celebrate this travel? I have a podcast for you, Begin the Journey. I share stories and moments from my life. Do tune in every Monday and Thursday to listen to my podcast on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Cheers.